Well, welcome back. For me, anyway, it's been a while since I've done a video. I've had some issues in life that have gotten in the way, and with the rebranding of my railroad to the River Valley Railway, I took down all my old Pine Valley Railway videos. So we're essentially starting over. We're going to show you how I build trains from for a typical session. I used a card draw system and a dispatch board. This is just a little piece of foam core. As you can tell, I'm getting it a little beat up. I may have to upgrade and do a nice one on some masonite. But anyway, we service 9 industries out of the total 15 in any given session. We draw cards to figure out which industries are placing their orders today. And then we draw car cards out of this deck, which is represents every car that's in the yard and available, and we match those up to the industries. We have situations as well where engines can go, or locomotives can go out of maintenance, out of service, and when we collect 3 full hoppers or 3 full gondolas, they will be parked at the end of the session on the Riverside track. We imagine that to be a loading facility where they get offloaded to barges at the start of the next session. So this is an infinite session that never needs setting up. You just pick up where you left off from the last time you ran the trains. We have 2 interchange trains, and so our next inbound will be consisting of these cars, and then we'll slide that out of the way. We'll slide the outbound stack down to the next inbound, and then the cars that get picked up and head out will be the last outbound. Pretty simple. This seems complicated, but it really isn't. Okay, we just dealt out the deck. We've got our industries blocked out, how we want to serve them. We're going to serve them with 2 different trains. The first 3 cars, 3 industries, are local to Riverport and Pine City, and the rest of the cars go outbound to Middleton, Coal Junction, and Pine Valley. We did draw one situation card, the boxcar special. We'll deal with that in a little bit. We have this set up so that there's cards for every industry, 4 cards in the deck except for the Too Thin to Be True factory in Pine Valley and the Auto Trucks parts facility. We took away 1 card because we figured those guys wouldn't be getting as much business as everybody else. And then this chart shows what type of cars are needed. And yeah, it's pretty simple. No computers required. My railroad is as simple as it gets. It's DC powered, and there's no computers involved whatsoever. This shows all the situation cards that are in the deck. We did take out the GP38 with the Canadian Pacific livery because I just have too many locomotives for the space available. We have 17 different locomotives on a DC track. We can do that with power switching turnouts and block power controlled. Moving on. We have certain rules. You can only have 6 situations at any time. And once we draw a locomotive maintenance card or out of service card, we roll a single dice, and whatever number it is, let's say it's a 4. Okay, so we put that 4 on that card, and then we turn that dice over until it gets to 6. When it gets to 6, then that locomotive can come back into service. So a 4 is actually the locomotive's only out of service for 4, 5, and 6. And we have a maintenance away train. If we draw that card, he's got to run out and pick up some trees on the tracks or something. So it just keeps things interesting. And we have other rules like you can't put a tank car on the end of the train. Only the local guys can switch up in Pine Valley, so we have to swap out and let the little switchers do their jobs up there. CSX handles all the interchange trains. Can't block the grade crossing by McDonald's at Riverport. Blah, 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 blah. All the typical rules. We do run a caboose on our Pine Valley train for the rail fan experience. You can buy a ticket and ride along with the freight train for the day. This is Valley Food Service, one of the industries getting served today. Here is the Pine Country Milling Company and the cold storage plant at Riverport. Our little imitation coal mine is just a Bachman coaling tower, but it serves its purpose. Fred's Fine Furniture, that is a Pike stuffed building I threw together. And then this is a custom building my sister made out of Walter's kit parts. And it's Chemco Products. It handles tank cars as well as covered hoppers with plastic pellets, and then box cars for shipping and receiving as well. This is one of the structures in the old town, the original layout. They're just cheap little outland buildings. They're not even really true to scale, but they serve the purpose for our railroad game. The Boxcar Special Card is related to this train that's sitting in the staging yard, and we're just going to run it around the layout to let those lubricants get loosened up, and it will probably run for 4 or 5 laps depending on the dice roll. Usually, somehow I always end up with 4, 5, or 6. I never get a 1-lap special. So here's our dispatch board with the cars now attached to each industry. This will show you which cars are going to go where, and these cars are available in the yard, and so it's time to go build our train. Here is the set of recycled gondolas that came out of the recycle center. I simply use little Kato uni-joiners as my recycle material because they're easy to put in and out of the cars. For the covered hoppers, I actually use live loads, and this is how I actually go about and do it. I'm a little shaky here doing this, trying to hold the camera. But yeah, I just use a little condiment dispenser, and I literally use Woodland Scenic's cinder ballast as my coal. And yeah, we got a little spillage going on there, but that's how I go about doing the live loads for the coal cars. Here's our main shop in Riverport. This paired up RSD 15 and Alco 420. They will pull out the Pine Valley train if it is 7, 8, or 9 cars. Otherwise, it's the U25B, the little GP20. It handles the local switching, and then the yard is serviced by GP7 and SD9. There's an RS11 tucked in the shop right now, serving as our backup in case we have to say the GP7 gets put out of service, the RS11 will take its place. Here's our main yard. It holds about 30 cars, and these are all the cars available today that we are going to have to pick out and make our trains with. There's a closer look at the GP7 and SD9. And there's a closer look at the GP20 and U25B. So like I say, we just use Kato uni-joiners for our recycling material. And it's a DC layout, all DC powered. I use 3 different Athearn controllers, one for cab A, 2 for cab B, and you'll see that in a minute. This is the status board that shows every car that's currently out on the layout. And it's set up as in red ace 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, etc., etc. So I know exactly what car is where at any given point. This is the original layout. I started my model railroading career up again with I don't know, probably a couple years ago now. Just a little 2x4 layout. And then I got bored going round and round because my trains weren't going anywhere. So I eventually ended up putting a 6-inch add-on section to the back here where these houses are and this escape track is out the back. I had room for an expansion track out the front when I originally did it. Another interesting thing is this little PDT switcher. It's like a rail car. Its sole purpose is to shove these cars out the switchback so that the little S2 can come around and swap out cars on the main line with the inbound train. I have what's known as an isolation switch on on two of my controllers because they're both wired to the same block circuits. So I can only run one of these controllers at any given time, otherwise they will short each other out. So that's what the on-off switch is here. It's an isolation switch that separates it from the system, so we can go around behind the scenery and position our trains in the staging yard with the controller right there. I use these little toggle switch covers as block indicators as to where my electrical blocks are. Eventually, I would like to make those into signals, but for now, it works for me. I can tell instantly at a glance where the end of the electrical block is. I like switchbacks because it makes switching more interesting, and this layout is essentially just one giant switching layout. Its total overall footprint is 15 feet by 7 feet, 3 foot cutout in the middle. These sections are 2 feet wide. So it's actually just a little shelf switching layout that goes around the operator. Our first train is going to be the local. The cold storage facility will get the Swift car. The milling company will get the box car. And this little Dubuque reefer will go into Valley Foods. And it will be all serviced with this little GP20. So let's show you some videos of some actual trains running. The first thing we have to do is get the extra excursion passenger train out of the siding so that we can get the boxcar train out for its run. So we're just going to back this little guy around into the station at Pine Valley, and the back half of the loop at Pine Valley serves as kind of a passing siding. And there's the use of the on-off toggle switches so that now we can come out front and reposition this train properly. Like I said, we're just going to pull him up out of the way so that the boxcar train can run on the main. Only part of the loop is used as the main line now. So now the passenger train is pulling into what is used as a runaround track or a passing siding. And of course, he'll block the road, as all trains love to do, just to make people mad. And then we can cut the power off to that track, switch our isolation switch off, go back around behind the layout to get this train out of the staging yard and then on its way on the outer loop. Next up, we're going to start building our first train, which is the local. Although before we do that, we have to get those empty gondola cars out of the pier track, because that's also serves as our outbound track. We are very efficient in this yard. We don't have any tracks that get unused very much. They all have a purpose. Every track on this layout has a purpose. This is an Atlas SD9, and I found that Atlas has some really nice replacement headlights that light up really bright. So these older legacy locomotives, you can get a really nice bright headlight out of them now with a little $6 Atlas headlight, as opposed to the dim old yellow ones that they came with. Times have changed, and like I said, I don't do DCC. I used to build really extensive flight simulators, and I've just gotten so burnt out on computers, computer interfaces, computer boards. When I come down to play with the trains, I just want to turn on the power and play with my trains. So the SD9, he'll be getting, whoopsies, he'll be getting those cars out of the way, and then we have got the main line cleared, switch it back to the other cab as the boxcar train is on his run, and he's going to come barreling through the yard at Mach 5 because you don't want to see trains just creeping through the yard, because this video is going to be long enough as it is. So once he clears, then the GP7 can go to work, and Windows 11 is ticking me off with their stupid ads, but it is what it is. I'm actually making this video in real time, just changing some screens and some videos around so you'll have to bear with me. I'm not very good at doing videos. This is now the GP7 building the local train. And if you notice before that switchback, we've got to get these cars separated so that the little GP20 can get in between them. So we're going to utilize the pier track here to drop the Butte car, and then the GP20 can sneak around and get in between those cars for its delivery. So we've got our cars set up, and the little GP20 is going to come out. Now this entire yard is one electrical block, and all these engines are sitting there because we use the Kato power switching turnouts, number 6s. Number 6s are used everywhere. I don't use any number 4s at all. And that allows us to park all these engines with very simple wiring, because it's all due to the power routing turnouts as to what locomotive gets power when. So now this GP20 can use the runaround track here in the yard, and he'll slide down in here and pick up these cars and be staged and ready to go for his deliveries. Next up in our operating session is the SD9. We'll pull out the caboose that's going to be used for the railfan experience. I found all of these cars and cabooses on eBay. I got them for between $9 and $10 a piece. A lot of them needed some love and care. Like none of these cabooses had stacks, so I just used some pieces left over from a Walther's rooftop kit and painted some vents black and called that close enough. I know it's not realistic for a caboose stove top, but it is what it is. So he's going to go down to the Riverport station and drop that caboose where the railfan experience agent can get with the people. Oh, this is showing you how I couple and uncouple Rapido couple cars. I have a little Allen tool that I just bent into an L shape that makes a perfect uncoupling tool. And then this is Riverport, Walther's kit, McDonald's. These are all done by my sister, who loves to do puzzles. All right, the video's getting ahead of me here. Let's pause this up. This is showing what's going to go in the next train. We're splitting the load between two trains. Going to be 3 cars in one train and 6 in the other, and they're blocked up the way I need them to be for their deliveries. So the next car out we're going to need is the Pennsylvania coal car, and that will be set up on the main line, and then these other cars will be set out in order the way they are on the dispatch board, so that we can make up our trains. There's a good look at those nice bright new headlights from Atlas. Thank you so much, Atlas. You guys are awesome, because that was the one thing I was missing about not having DCC was bright headlights, but that's been pretty much solved. I'm not much into the N-scale sound because it just sounds so tinny to me, and I just like the peace and quiet of running my trains. I'm not really into all the sound effects. So he's going to go back into the hopper gondola track and pluck out that Pennsylvania coal car, because that is going to be the first car we need to be on the back of the train. And the reason for that is we'll get that into another video, but when he gets to Pine Valley, he'll have to run around the train and then grab that coal car and go all the way back down to Coal Junction, because that is also a switchback. There's 3 different switchbacks on this layout, which make the operations just a little more daunting. If it was real world, they'd probably be ticked off, but it's a model railroad and we like operations, so I like my switchbacks. So we're going to cut this Pennsylvania car out and set him up on the main line. All of my turnouts are wired with the momentary toggle switches. I always have up as the straight and down as the curve, so I can remember it's straight up or down around the curve. So I don't have to really think too hard about which way the switch is positioned. Momentary, of course, center off. Now, the nice thing about power switching turnouts, I don't have to reprogram any locomotives. All I got to do is flip that turnout, and I go from powering the SD9 to powering the GP7 that quick. That's the one thing I like about the DC, is that I don't have to keep plugging in numbers into a controller to keep running different locomotives. Because in this session, we're going to run probably 6 or 7 different locomotives by the time the session is over. A typical operating session takes me about an hour. Like I said, I love to switch cars. I like to build trains. So this is what my layout was designed and built for. Was just picking apart trains, putting them back together, making deliveries, making pickups. And then if I want to watch a train run, I do have that whole outer loop where I can just turn a train on like that Boxcar Special and just watch it run if that's what I want. But that lasts for about 5 minutes for me, and then I'm over it. So this is the next car that's going to go into the train assembly. This little boxcar is going into Fred's Fine Furniture. That was the 4 card we drew. And again, we all of our turnouts are powered. I don't reach in and hand flip anything because I'm a klutz. If you notice my little tree line, that's also because I'm a klutz, and I'm not above knocking something off the layout, and those trees have saved me a bunch of times because they will catch those light little N-scale cars. Now, sometimes the problem with old repeato couplers is they don't like to connect up. I know it'd be nice to have all microtrain stuff, but I'm not going to go down that route because what I have works. It's been working. This stuff is, most of it's 20, 30, 40 years old. I originally got back into model railroading because I discovered a box of 14 cars. 14 of these cars I had from the 80s when I used to try to build layouts and was so bad at it, I just got frustrated and gave up. So this is the first layout I've actually ever finished scenery-wise, and actually get to operate without having to keep messing with wiring or bad track. The Kato Unitrack is just awesome. I can't say enough about it. It has really, really saved me. So this train is now working on getting the covered hopper into place. Again, there's a quick example of how easy it is for me to use the repeato couplers versus trying to uncouple the microtrain stuff with a bamboo skewer, I think is what you guys use. I'm not sure. I've never even tried them because I was looking at prices, and a new car from Atlas or Kato or whatever, microtrains, $20-$30. I can get 2 or 3 cars on eBay with all the old stuff. And yeah, I have 90 something pieces of rolling stock and 17 locomotives in use on this layout. So if I were to buy that all brand new, that would be a pretty hefty investment. Just the track alone was a big enough chunk for me. I don't use any foam at all. This layout is just dead flat. And all of you people who hate me for it, oh well, I don't care. It's just 3-inch plywood over 1x3 frames. But I built it in sections that are bolted together. So, you know, if I ever had to move or whatever, it would be a bit of a chore because the wiring underneath is a spiderweb mess. But it could actually all be unbolted and taken apart. Like the City of Riverport right down there by the block marker, that is a 2x4 section all on its own. The main yard is a 6-foot section. It got a little more complicated when I had to extend the yard module because it was originally only a foot wide. So it's now 2 feet wide. Like I said, there's this video is playing twice again. I'm sorry. I got to yakking and the video started over. My bad. Okay, we're back with our last segment of videos. Sorry about that previous one. Like I said, I'm so terrible at doing these videos. I don't know what I'm doing. I just make stuff up as I go. Um, he's now dropped the tank cars, and he's going for the rest of the train. I think the long brown one is next. And I'm running out of things to say because I told you this video was going to be long, and I apologize for that. But we're just about done. He's going to pick up that brown car. Oh, yeah, I want to show you how I distinguish from all of my other cars, because there's like the hopper cars and the covered hoppers with the flower green. Those are all the exact same car. So I have to distinguish them for my dispatch game, and you'll see how I have those marked out. All the purists will say, "Oh, you destroyed a collectible." They're toys. They're meant to be played with, so get over it. I did find those little cars on Amazon because I was looking for some modern cars. They're 1:150 scale, and N scale's 1:160, so close enough for me. As you can see, I'm not really into all that that much realism because I'm using trains with repeato couplers, so it is what it is. The fuel tank back here, yeah, that's just the cap off of spray can. I'm pretty cheesy. I scratch built a little shed out of some leftover parts. That's another Pike stuff building there. An old boxcar I couldn't get to run became my my maintenance shed at the shop. And I wanted a vision break to try to break this up a little bit. So this is just some blocks of wood covered with quilting material and Mod Podge glue is how that hill was made. The other hills in the back, they were just standard plaster sheets over newspaper. Okay, now let's stop this for a second. As you'll notice, these cars all have different colored walkways. You got a 1, a 2, and a 3. That separates them as to which car gets called out in the in dispatch. Like example, this tank car's got a little black top on its hatch. Well, that happens to be exactly identical to the one that doesn't have it. So this would be number 2 in my card system. So this is the way I have to identify which cars I need out of the yard, because we don't just grab any old car. We have to grab a specific car to fulfill our train order. And none of my cars are graffitied or weathered. I just, like I said, I'm really not into that much realism. People are lucky I actually ballasted the track. I'm kind of glad I did. I hate ballasting track. It cost me 1 Cato turnout that I ended up gluing shut. I'm just terrible at it. I like to play with trains more than I like to actually build them. But this was a fun project, and we're just about done here building this train. One thing about repeato couplers, for those of you that don't know, I guess with micro train couplers, you have to back them in to get some slack to uncouple them. It's exactly the opposite with the old repeato couplers. You got to tug them forward a little bit, and then when you lift up on the coupler, the springs will compress. Because they're stretched out, they'll pull back, and you'll be able to uncouple those repeato cars pretty easily if you give it just a little forward tug first. If you push back on them, the springs are all compressed, and when you go to uncouple them, the couplers will just try to go overlapping each other. Here's another example of 2 cars I have that are exactly the same, National Dairy Dispatch. And you notice there's a little black mark on one of them. That is car number 2. But we want the original car number 1, so that's the one we're going to pull out today. So I've essentially turned my model railroad into a big board game, but it has made it so much more enjoyable to actually have a purpose to run trains, other than just going, okay, we switch a bunch of cars into the coal mine, or we did this, or we did, you know, it's not the same thing every time. In fact, there are so many variables. There may be a day where the outbound train only has 4 cars because all 5 industries of the local got drawn. There may be a day where the local guy only has 1 car, and then I have to use the Alco dual set back there, the RSD 15 and the Alco 420. Those are old model power locomotives I found on eBay that were just absolutely trashed. I had to rewire the RSD 15, but the motors worked, and that's a nice little pair for pulling the longer trains. And the reason I need a little more power is because for those longer trains, if I'm switching a lot of cars out of Middleton, I'll be pushing 12 cars around a corner, and I'll need that second engine for a little oomph to get those cars around the corner without the single engine spinning its wheels. I actually went through and put in railroad crossing signs and the whole 9 yards, which is detailed stop signs. This is all details I've never ever done on a railroad before, and it actually makes it look kind of nice. This is about the limit of my modeling skills at this point. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this this little show here of how I set up trains. If you like this stuff, I can make another video showing how I do all my deliveries. It's essentially going to be the same thing, me trying to run trains while holding an iPhone with the other hand. Sorry about some of the shaky images, but you get what you get when you're 70 years old. So yeah, this is the River Valley Railway, and you don't have to slam these cars together. A lot of people think with the old couplers you had to just slam them hard. You really don't, because if you actually use them and those springs and the couplers start to get a little wear on them, they become nice and limber, and they'll just fold over each other just as nice as can be. We're going to see the U25B pop out. It's the other locomotive. My 3 main locomotives, I put or 4, I put the new lights in. All the others still have the older, dimmer lights, but I don't use them that much. These are the guys I use the most, unless, of course, they get drawn with an out-of-service card, and then they're sitting in the shop. I have a second shop back at Hidden Valley. I call it Hidden Valley. That's my staging yard. That's the only place that doesn't have ballasted track. And because it's a staging yard, I seriously doubt if I'm ever going to do the track. Looking at that locomotive, I can see I need to tap that walkway down. It popped up a little bit when I did the headlight. This is an example of some of the Rapido coupler issues you may get. They'll go over each other, but they won't lock down. And, well, you know what? The conductor's got to come out and hook up the hoses anyways. So I just take my little uncoupling tool and give it a little tap, and she'll click right in. So he'll back up, pick up his caboose, and now we have our 2 trains ready to go out and do our deliveries. And once they come back, we will then run a CSX exchange train, and he will bring in new cars, and those other cars will go out. And once those cars go out for the session, they'll be gone for 2 sessions, out of sight, out of mind. That's why we need 90 cars to service this layout in its operating sessions, because there's let's see, there can be up to 18 cars in the staging yard at any given time. Our outbound trains can be anywhere from 7 to 9 cars. Well, that's about it for this video. Thanks again. If you stuck around this long, I really do appreciate it. But there's a quick overview of the little 15x7 River Valley Railroad. And y'all have a great day. Thanks for watching.